The Chiefs and Eagles catching flights and feelings because Super Bowl 57, you know, just the biggest game of their lives, is now just 6 days away. 6 more sleeps, Jesse Cofield.
Oh, yeah. Both teams landing at Goldwater Air National Guard Base on Sunday afternoon in this fantastic Phoenix weather. Temps in the low 70s with nothing but bright sunshine in the forecast for Super Bowl week. How lucky are we?
Yeah, we're very lucky. It's going to be a busy one for coaches, players, staffs, and for us here in the great state of Arizona, the Grand Canyon State. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Monday edition of The Sweat presented by DraftKings, live from Radio Row inside the Phoenix Convention Center. This place is ginormous. We will be here all week. We're going to be breaking down best DFS plays and, of course, best bets ahead of Super Bowl 57. It's going to be sick.
And that's not all. We're going to have special guests this whole week, including today's dynamic duo. We got former NFL wide receiver, current VSiN NFL analyst Mike Pritchard. He's going to be here, as well as his VSiN teammate, host of VSiN's Final Countdown, Stormy Boniantoni. We are so excited to have them here today.
Yeah, that's right. So this is my first time on Radio Row here. I know this is still like the calm before the storm. It's
Correct.
Monday morning. It's very quiet here, but I expect this place to be absolutely booming. I definitely expected more cowboy hats at this point, and I did not expect it to be this cold outside. I guess the desert is cold at night in the morning and very hot in the afternoon.
That is how weather works, and that is how the desert works. But yeah, we have an amazing spot in here. We are next to the TikTok booth, so we're excited to see what that brings. We could become TikTok influencers. Who knows?
Yeah, you were talking about us needing to learn a dance.
Yeah, I think we do. I think that's something that has to happen this week. Obviously, they'll probably just think that we're amazing and they'll want to do more with us. But
it's all on the shoulders. It's like on the dance floor, man. Like after 2 beers in, it's like I'm just gone.
I don't know if we should let you do that. But let's talk about this matchup. Let's look at these two teams,
Let's do it.
Very similar. Both teams went 14-3, top seed in their conference. Both teams 7 wins at home this season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, both teams have a Kelsey. Obviously, I don't know if you guys have heard about that.
Why doesn't anybody write or talk about that?
Yeah, no one is doing this.
No, nobody is doing it at all. Also, both head coaches with a history with the other franchise. So Andy Reid, head coach of the Eagles, everyone knows that. 99 to 2012, highly successful 14-year stretch there. Sirianni, an offensive assistant for the Chiefs. That was 2009 to 2012. Not retained, though, when Reid took over.
Yeah, and both teams have won games at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona this season. So KC in week 1, they had a 44-21 win over the Cardinals. Philly in week 5, 2017 win over the Cardinals.
All right, so this is great. Tom Glenn, our producer, put this note in here. So basically, whoever wins Super Bowl 57 is going to have more wins in State Farm Stadium this season than the Cardinals did, who were just 1-8 at home. It's ridiculous.
Man. That is just.
They're still looking for a head coach as well, the Cardinals. And like, we're staying at a hotel in the Scottsdale area.
We are.
And we're just like, as we're driving by all of these ginormous like mountains and rock formations, and we see the homes built inside them, we're like, I'm pretty sure that's where like Cliff Kingsbury lives.
Yeah, the meme of him at the draft just sitting in that amazing living room. Yeah, we saw that house.
It's like straight out of a Peloton commercial.
Yeah, or like a James Bond movie or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, let's look really quick at the betting splits, early betting splits here.
What do we got?
So Eagles -1.5, 70% of the bets, 73% of the handle. For the money line, KC 55% of the bets, and 51% of the bets on the under, but 53% of the handle on the over.
Yeah, that's awesome. We got a lot to dive into here. Again, just day one. We'll be here all week on Radio Row. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, former NFL wide receiver, current VSiN NFL analyst, Mike Pritchard is going to join us. We'll dive into best bets and some of the fun storylines that we will be discussing quite a bit this week here in Phoenix, Arizona. So hang out with us, folks. The Sweat is live from Radio Row.
Welcome back to The Sweat, presented by DraftKings. Jesse Emerson, and we are thrilled to welcome our first guest of the week. First guest to join us on Radio Row, Mike Pritchard, former NFL wide receiver, current VSiN NFL analyst. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be with you, too. This is outstanding, isn't it?
Yeah,
we are excited,
yes. You were just telling us how quiet it is here, and just expect this thing to be turned upside down on its head here for the next couple of days.
The buildup is real. I mean, right now I call it the quiet storm because it is going to get a little bit more turbulent as the day progresses today. Yeah. But as we get closer and closer to kickoff, and then you know, the Michael Irvins of the world, or the Mike Holmgrens of the world, and who's who of the National Football League comes through here, it gets nuts. It's going to be incredible, though.
I mean, can't wait for that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Andy Reid's a pretty big, like, who's who when it comes to, like, this.
Of course.
You know, he's been here quite a bit now in his career, and he's done a hell of a job since taking over the Chiefs. Like, I guess what grade would you give him since he has started? Because, he was hired on January 4, 2013, and then things just haven't been the same since in Kansas City.
It has not. It's been for the best situation they can imagine right now. You know, Andy Reid goes way back there because when I was in college, he was the offensive line coach of Missouri.
Okay.
In the Big Eight, the old Big Eight. And so Eric Bieniemy and myself, we have familiarity with Andy Reid. So fast forward now, and he's doing an outstanding job as head coach, and he's been incredible. He needs more Super Bowl victories, though.
He does.
He gets to the dance, but then he doesn't cap it off that often as he's been there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this matchup provides for us this year. But an incredible, incredible coach, though.
Yeah, we're going to talk to you a little bit more about your connection with Eric Bieniemy later, but looking at the other side of this matchup, all right, Nick Sirianni took over in Philly last year. He's done an amazing job in just a year, naming Jalen Hurts the starter last year. I mean, how has Hurts transformed this offense?
He's incredible, Jesse. I mean, I think from Jalen Hurts, and a lot of people watched him get benched in the national championship game because he couldn't throw the football. And now he's leading the Eagles to the Super Bowl. And I think that's what people need to understand. The National Football League is a get-better league. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. And so for Jalen Hurts, his opportunities was when he first got drafted into the National Football League. And now it's up to him to make his career whatever he wants to make it, however he wants to define it. So it's been an incredible ride. I agree with you. I think, you know, he's not there yet as a prolific passer, but he's doing enough throwing the football to help out that offense and what they want to do. It's
kind of crazy because he wasn't even a first rounder. I mean, he was the 53rd pick overall, second round. I mean, when you look at how far he's come in a short period of time and the fact that he didn't even go in the first round, I mean, is his potential just limitless here?
I think it is. You know, there's no ceiling at this point for a guy like Jalen Hurts. And that's what you're excited about. If you're an Eagle fan, if you're the Eagles, you're back in the Eagles from a betting perspective in the Super Bowl coming up, he has no ceiling yet. And so as a runner of the football, we like to say 6 eligibles because he's like another running back there. That's dangerous. That's something that is going to cause a problem for Kansas City, I believe, in this football game.
Is that why you have Nick Sirianni comparing him to Michael Jordan? Why would he do that?
Wow. Yeah, I don't know about that one now. Come on, Nick.
Yeah.
I know Nick runs hot sometimes, right? You see him on the sideline, he runs hot sometimes. But no, that's a stretch right there. I mean, Jalen's just getting started. But I think that's the confidence level that Nick Sirianni has in his players, though, when he speaks highly of them that way.
I mean, it's probably a big reason, too, why the Eagles right now on the DraftKings Sportsbook favored by 1.5. So as we showed earlier, like a lot of the bets here coming in on Philly to cover. Moneyline bets are almost 50-50, though, here, Mike. So who are you giving the early edge to right now on this Monday before the Super Bowl?
Well, I got to lean towards Philly right now. So definitely, I mean, defense wins championships. And you got the best passing offense going up against the best passing defense. I'm going to side with the defense from a betting perspective. So I got to lean right now with the Eagles. I better jump on it, though, because I don't know where that line is going to go. Patrick walked off the plane, and everybody saw the video, and he walked down those stairs, and he was fine. So I don't know where this line is going to go yet, but yeah, I got my lean right now towards Philly.
Nobody's ever been more careful walking down the stairs, right?
I know.
He's like, it's good, it's solid, everyone. Nothing to see here.
Exactly. No slip down the stairs or anything like that, right?
Hollering up at him, Patrick, watch your step.
Exactly.
Thanks, Dad.
Well, in the offseason, both these teams involved in major trades involving wide receivers. Eagles acquiring A.J. Brown from the Titans. Casey trading away Tyreek Hill, you've of course played the position in the league. We've talked about that. You have a unique perspective on this. How big of an edge does Philly have in the wideout department?
I think they have a matchup edge.
Yeah.
I think, and what I mean by that, so a lot of teams, they execute and we run scheme. So scheme is one thing, and everybody knows and catches up to your scheme. Like the Chiefs, they're a scheme-oriented football team. They're not a matchup team. They don't like to create one-on-one matchups with individual players. Whereas Philly, they do like to do that with Devonta Smith and certainly A.J. Brown. So therefore, Dallas Goedert too. I think they have the matchup advantage. So if Shane Steichen, offense coordinator, and Nick Sirianni, if they want to feature those guys that way, they can. And I think they have a distinct advantage that way.
Question. What doubts did you have in this Chiefs offense after trading away Hill?
Dude,
you know what?
I mean,
there's no way we expected Patrick Mahomes to be at this MVP level, like after losing.
Well,
that
hold
guy.
up now.
Yeah.
Hold up
Okay.
now.
Oh,
Hold
wait,
up.
wait,
Hold
wait,
up.
wait.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I do have a Patrick Mahomes 7-1 MVP ticket.
Okay.
Back in August, I got on that bad boy because this is the thing. I played in this offense. It's a West Coast style offense. And the thing about Patrick Mahomes, he's an air raid quarterback from Texas Tech, right? And he runs out of patience sometimes because he always wants to create that big play. And so what Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy needed to do for him is to make him more patient, make him become a pocket passer. And if he becomes a pocket passer, therefore he's more efficient. And that's what we saw this year with the Chiefs. You, as a defense, you have to cover the entire field now. You have to cover it horizontally and vertically. Whereas with Tyreek Hill out there, just key in and focus in on that. And then Patrick, with his lack of patience at times, could maybe not execute the offense like we need him to, right? But this year, it's been incredible. It's been a great ride for the Chiefs, and I got that lottery ticket. I know it's 7-1. I'm just waiting for them to announce his name as MVP right now.
I mean, he and Eric Bieniemy have just formed this incredible, offensive coordinator, quarterback duo. And I know you're a former college teammate of Eric. Will this be his last game on the Chiefs sidelines? Whether I know there's a couple head coaching vacancies open, but he's also been rumored. Let's see, the Titans and the Ravens are interested in bringing him on as offensive coordinator. What do you think?
He's a highly sought-after coach from offense coordinator standpoint, head coaching standpoint too. I mean, he's garnered a lot of interviews. They haven't gone that well, I guess, because he hasn't been hired, right? Eric is a champion. Eric is not only highly qualified, but highly capable of being a head coach. It's just waiting for that right opportunity. I think this is his last year under contract with the Chiefs, and we'll see what that provides for Eric in the future, but he's going to land on his feet somewhere, whether it's a coordinator standpoint or a head coaching standpoint. I mean, he is sought after. The creativity that he's brought to the Kansas City Chiefs and the passion, the tough coaching too. I mean, I think a lot of people are appreciating that right now.
And you hear about how the players talk about him. I mean, they love him.
They do. He's so personable. He's like a brother to me. I mean, we came in together at CU and same recruiting class. And then we were roommates.
Hell of a class there.
It was a hell of a class.
We were so damn good.
We were roommates until we couldn't become roommates or couldn't stay roommates.
Why?
Because of the egos, right? I mean, we're all thinking that we're the next thing since sliced bread at CU, right? And he's from Cali. I'm from Vegas. And I had another guy, George Hemingway, all in one room. And we were all sought after, right? And so I think that dorm room would have exploded if we would have stayed in there together, though.
Was that bunk beds?
No bunk, no bunk, no bunk. We had the separate cots, but no bunks, though.
Yep. All right, sticking with your bread and butter, there is a prop on the DK Sportsbook asking, will any player break the Super Bowl receiving yards record?
Ooh,
so over 215.5. It's a payout of plus 1,600 for yes. Do you see anyone having that big of a game on Sunday?
I mean, it's possible, but I don't see it happening. I think it's possible because we could get that shootout, right? I mean, Kansas City is going to have to score a lot of points. We know that. To score, they're one-dimensional offensively. They're going to throw the ball a ton. Whereas Philly, they kind of grind it out. They kind of run the football. So, but if Kansas City can stop the run, now all of a sudden you get to those matchups that we talked about with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, and who knows? But I don't see it. I don't see it that way, though. I don't think we have that caliber receiver to break that record.
Yeah, Jerry Rice has the most receiving yards in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Just,
215 yards. Who else besides the quarterbacks could you see winning MVP?
Well,
in this game?
I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah.
Because I have a ticket on Miles Sanders.
Okay.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, 30
Okay.
to 1.
I think he's one of the favorites to score first in this game too.
Well, I have an anytime score touchdown for touchdown for Miles Sanders too. So I think this guy's incredible. I think he's underrated too, to be honest with you. He's in a top 5 rusher in the National Football League this year. On top of that, I looked and dove into some stats I think could be incredible that could create a narrative for Miles Sanders, and that's he's got the 4th most explosive plays past 10 yards in the National Football League this year. He's had 34 of them. So not a lot of people are talking about that, and I think for Philly to win this game, they have to be explosive on the run with the run on the ground, and so I think Miles Sanders has a shot. It's a long shot, but I have that ticket right now.
Yeah, I think it's because of more like the committee thing. Sometimes you could have 2-3 running backs like back there, and then you got Jalen Hurts, as you've mentioned, as like another running back. They've had these games where there's been almost like 300 yards on the ground spread out between like 4 different dudes.
And that's the thing about Philly, because there's so many candidates to win MVP, right? It's not just going to be a quarterback award, I don't think. I mean, if Jalen goes off, obviously he's going to do it, but A.J. Brown could have a great game. Devontae Smith, we talked about him, could have a great game. Dallas Goedert, it's unlikely for a tight end, but Miles Sanders, he had 2 touchdowns in the conference championship game.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, with a long shot standpoint, sprinkle a little something on that.
All right, so game total for this one sitting at 50.5. Obviously, 2 of the better offenses in the NFL. You've said you're giving the Eagles defense a little bit of an edge here.
77.
So both teams can get after the quarterback. Do you think we're going to be seeing more of a defensive game than some people expect? Because everyone's focused on this offense.
Right. I hope not. Because
I
know, right?
I think the last 3 or 4 have gone
The last
under.
4 Super Bowls have gone under the points total.
Right. I mean, with these quarterbacks, we got 2 #1 seeds too. I mean, it's incredible. Last time the 2 #1 seeds was Philly and New England, right? And that game was a shootout. So
that's right. Philly special on that one.
Right. So when we have 2 #1 seeds, I think we get fireworks. I'm hoping for that. We get a defensive slugfest, and that's not going to be entertaining. And then I think the Eagles win, right? I mean, the advantage to their defense. But Patrick Mahomes, he is incredible. I nicknamed him PFM2. Are you guys familiar with Peyton freaking Manning?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Heard of him a time or two.
Unfortunately, I'm a Jaguars fan. I had to deal with him for quite a long time.
So I went full PF2 and Patrick freaking Mahomes because of what he can do with his legs and how he sucked it up with the pain and the ankle and just made play after play. So that type of player, Superman, whatever nickname you want to give the guy, right? He's an incredible player, and I don't know if a defense can just stifle him, right? So I hope we get that entertaining type of shootout game.
You've also got referee Carl Chevers in this game, which he leads the league in flags thrown.
He does.
So hopefully it won't be super tightly called, and we can get like a boatload of points here.
Right.
Sean Payton has been a guy who has been on this stage before, and he is now head coach for one of your former teams, the Broncos. How quickly do you think he can turn it around there with Russell Wilson under center?
Well, they have to turn each other around because Sean Payton has an ego and Russell has an ego, right?
Yeah.
And Russell has to become coachable again. I think that is the biggest detriment that's happening to his career right now, is that he's no longer coachable because he's Russell Wilson, right? And I think a lot of that, like Giannis said, a lot of that is your ego, and that's in the past. It's more about your present and your future. And if they can come together, if Russell Wilson can become coachable again, then I think they can turn it around quicker than a lot of people are giving them credit to do right now. So they got offensive line problems. They got an offense running back issue too.
Yep.
And then they got to find a defensive coordinator. So from a coordinator standpoint, Avero, he's now with Carolina. He was incredible. Before him, it was Vic Fangio, which was another legendary defensive-minded coach. So
they wanted him to stick around.
They did.
He was like,
they did.
Yeah,
I know, right? But if you wanted me to stick around, then make me a head coach kind of thing. I'll keep me as a head coach. But no, I think they have some issues to work through. But they're headliners. They're brand names. And a lot of people might gravitate towards the fact that they'll work it out.
So who's better set up for success, Peyton or DeMeco Ryans in Houston? Like, which job would you rather have?
Oh, that's a great question. I think having been in Denver, having understand now it's a different ownership too. I mean, Pat Bowlen, rest in peace, he was amazing. But I think this might sound crazy, but Houston. because it's a blank canvas, right?
Yeah, man.
And then I can go out and get my quarterback. And then what I'm bringing to the table, if you're D'Amico Ryans, is that attitude, that motivation, and you got a lot of hungry players. And I think he can create that kind of culture. Right? Because it's dysfunctional down there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We can all agree on that. It's dysfunctional down there. But no, I think with a blank canvas mentality or situation, it's probably the best job right now.
I mean, speaking of creating a culture, we got to go back to your alma mater here, Colorado, with like Deion Sanders taking over.
Coach Prime.
Coach Prime. Where's your Prime gear?
I know.
I got to hook you guys up.
And I knew a former teammate of yours, I believe in Atlanta as well, right?
He was. I got drafted by Atlanta in '91, so the first 3 years we were teammates.
Okay,
and it
cool.
made me a better player. Absolutely.
Like just your level of excitement for the Coach Prime era, though, with your alma mater right now, because
there isn't a level.
Because like,
it doesn't exist. The limit does not exist.
We're talking about arguably like one of the worst teams in Division I, and now all of a sudden, because of the transfer portal, like this team is expected to potentially compete for a Pac-12 title.
Right, and that's why
it's incredible.
Rick George, our AD, our athletic director, did an incredible job because he knew that we had to go big, or go home. I mean,
for sure,
because we were hiding, like you said. I mean, we were horrible last year, and having won a national championship there, a lot of people were looking for that level of success again.
Oh man!
And there was one guy that got targeted, and that was Coach Prime, in terms of getting the attention necessary to attract their top players from a transfer portal and then also from high school recruiting. Right?
Yeah.
So Coach Prime is giving them the platform, is giving them the profile, is kickstarting their potential NFL career because they're attending CU. And then on top of that, we're going to benefit as an institution, as a football program, because we're going to have an elite program. We're going to compete in the Pac-12 now immediately.
Yeah.
And then perhaps down the line compete in the college football playoff as well.
All right. Before we let you go, let's put you on the spot here.
Okay, you did already.
All right.
Multiple times.
We want your Super Bowl 57 prediction, winner and final score.
Okay, I got to lean towards the Eagles. I think the Eagles will win, and I'm going to go 29-27.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're rooting for a big game from Miles Sanders.
Yeah, a huge game.
As we know already.
A huge game from Miles Sanders.
You know, I got one more for you because I'm looking at, like, you played with like 15 quarterbacks over the span of your NFL career. I mean, some big names here, like John Elway, like Warren Moon is in there, dude. Like, my God.
Brett Favre's in there.
Yeah, Brett Favre's in there. I'm trying to see. John Kitna's in there. Okay. Your favorite former quarterback of yours?
Man,
another, we're putting you on the spot again.
Yeah, I know, right? That's twice. That's a really good question.
But wait, there's more.
There is more? Okay. My favorite, wow. I can't tell stories, right?
Yeah.
You can. No, you can.
Go ahead. It's internet TV. You can do whatever you want.
I'm going to leave names out.
Okay.
My favorite, probably John Elway.
Okay.
Only because I got to meet his dad before he passed and his mom. And we talked football in Barcelona, Spain, of all places. And we just sat there, and I'm with the great John Elway, with his dad, Jack, and his mom. And then we just had this intense conversation about football.
Yeah.
And I knew of John from observing him and being a fan and certainly being up the road in Boulder and watching him play with Denver. But now to be a teammate of his, I didn't understand it until I sat down and talked with those guys. So that way. And that was an incredible, eye-opening experience.
There was no better way to go out to in the NFL, like back-to-back Super Bowls, and then you just peace out.
And then retire. I know, peace out. That's
it's like it's top of the world right there.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to do it, I would say. You're a Vegas native.
I am.
In fact, member of the Nevada Sports Hall of Fame. So what is your level of excitement here for the Super Bowl to make its debut in Sin City next year?
I cannot wait, Jesse. It's going to be off the chain, like we like to say. It really is going to be because, I mean, nobody throws a party better than Las Vegas. Nobody. I mean, New York, you can throw them up there, but I'll challenge New York. I've been to the Super Bowl in New York. I've been to the Super Bowl in Atlanta. I've been to L.A. I've been here before as a player way back in the day, and now with VSiN, right? I cannot wait. It's highly anticipated. I think the entertainment value that people are going to get when they get to Vegas, and Vegas is a global city too.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
We're going to get everybody from around the world converging on Las Vegas for the Super Bowl next year. So I know everybody's already started planning.
Oh, yeah.
But it's going to be a party. The NFL is looking forward to it, and certainly as a native, I'm looking forward to it as well.
All right, Mike. Well, it was good having you. Thanks for swinging by,
Thanks
making
for
your
having me.
being our first guest,
Absolutely.
making your sweat debut here, and
All
sharing
right.
stories
Sweet.
with us. We're going to bring on Stormy next. So, is there
Okay.
anything we need to know about Stormy before we meet her and bring her on stage?
Well, don't put her on the spot. Don't do that.
Oh,
but
we're
she can
doing
handle it. Oh, are you okay? No, she's gonna handle it.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
going to be highly entertaining. You guys are going to love Stormy. Absolutely.
Yeah. We got a lot of novelty props and stuff like that. We're going to dive into with her Gatorade color, all that fun stuff.
We love that.
We'll do that coming up when the sweat returns right after this break, everybody. All right, back here on the sweat, presented by DraftKings, live from Radio Row inside the Phoenix Convention Center ahead of Super Bowl 57 on Sunday between the Chiefs and the Eagles.
And VSiN's Stormy Monteantoni is with us in the flesh.
Let's
Stormy,
go.
thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, although I didn't know I was going to be following the man, the myth, the legend, Mike Pritchard. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you some of the not safe for work stories that he could share with us would
We'll
be
be getting
excellent.
some of those later.
I know.
Sure.
I'm going to go catch up with him like right after
That's
we do this.
That's the DraftKings Plus
Yes,
subscription.
yes,
so.
exactly.
Coming soon.
So what are your opening impressions of Radio Row? We've been told it's not quite a spectacle yet, but it's going to get crazier out
Yeah,
here.
it's still early. This is my first time ever
Same
coming.
for us.
Our first
Same
time
for us.
Yeah,
too.
so I'm not really sure what to expect, but I hear it's going to become ultimate chaos. But early on, it's Monday.
Yep.
We're easing into things a little bit here. This set is beautiful, and it's
It
great
is.
because it's the first thing you see when you walk in.
Exactly, branding.
Yeah. So
DraftKings.
what's your gut telling you right now with this game? So Eagles favored like by 1.5 right now. I believe Mike said he really liked the Eagles.
Yeah, he
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a little bit weird for me because I feel like throughout the playoffs, I've had a lot of conviction on all of these games.
Yeah.
This one, I feel so unsure when it comes to a side one way or the other.
Yeah.
So I do think it's going to be a close game when it comes down to it. So I did maybe one of the, less traditional forms of betting the game, and I did a same game teaser with it. So I took the Chiefs up to 7.5 and the total down to 44.5 to take the over there.
Okay.
And so that's kind of my thought process, is that it's going to be a closer game. If it's a close game and I think it could be a field goal or a touchdown. Let's get more than a touchdown with the underdog in this case. And I mean, not too shabby getting 7.5 points with Patrick Mahomes in any case.
Sure.
So, and then if I do think that the Chiefs can keep it close with this Eagles team and do work against that defense, then it's probably going to be a little bit higher scoring. Not so sure I love 50.5, but 44.5 we can work with. So that's kind of how I played the game. I wish I would like had a more conviction type answer for you guys. It's hard for me for this game for whatever reason. So I'll probably be leaning more towards some props.
It is, because like Jesse, we were talking with Mike about the offenses in this game, how impressive they are, but we mentioned like the 77 like sacks that the Eagles defense has.
Insane.
And then on the Chiefs side,
They
like
led-
they're no schmucks. They had 55, which led to AFC.
Yeah, they did.
Chris Jones ain't no slouch. We know that.
Right?
Well, on your show, VSiN Final Countdown, so you and your host, Matt Brown, your co-host, you guys like to dabble in the prop bets market.
yes.
You love to do
Let's
that.
go.
What are some of like the novelty stuff? We'll get to that. But what are some of your favorite props on the board? And I saw that you guys were doing like some bets where you had to eat an oyster. Like live.
I won, so I
What?
didn't have to
I've
eat
never
the
had an
oyster.
But I
oyster.
like
I'm a winner.
oyster.
We want winners.
So you don't like oysters?
No,
Okay.
no,
So that would have been horrible
no.
for you. I was like, that sounds like a treat. That
Oh
sounds
my
like a
gosh.
delight.
Ugh.
So you didn't have to do it.
No,
Have
so
you
I
ever
won.
had an oyster?
I have had an oyster one time.
I've never had
and it
one.
is the only food in my adult life that I have spit up
Okay.
and like had to just remove it from. I couldn't
Just
do it.
disgusting.
Jesse eats them like every
I
week.
love them. So I was like,
Oh,
is
no.
that?
Slurping them
I was like,
down?
does the winner get oysters? No,
Well-
it's the loser.
And they were trying to be funny too, saying, "Well, Stormy, it's not that bad. You put it on a cracker or put the hot sauce on it
No.
or whatever." And I was like, "No, they're making me eat just a raw, slimy, disgusting oyster."
No sauce,
And listen,
just,
But I won that bet.
So you
So
didn't have to do it.
instead, my
Yeah.
co-host, who does not like condiments, he's very health conscious. He's, workout fiend. He does not do mayo. He's actually repulsed by it. He had to eat 2 full mayo packets on set.
Yes.
And then I won the following week's wager as well, and he took a whipped cream pie to the face. So this week, we're still trying to figure out what our punishment's going to be for Super Bowl. And because
Ooh.
I won the first 2, it's almost like definite that I'm going to get dogged here this week. And we were talking through the loser having to do like 100 push-ups or something, which great for him who works
Yeah,
out all the
yeah.
time, not for these spaghetti arms.
I think that the loser should probably have to go do the most popular TikTok dance live
gosh.
at the TikTok booth or something.
I enjoy
Our
the
neighbors.
TikTok, but I do not do the dancing.
Yeah.
Or I was also thinking of, that one chip challenge where you eat the super hot chip.
Oh,
like the devil chip or
ghost
what is it
yeah,
called?
the
ghost pepper
Reaper,
chip.
Yeah.
the Carolina Reaper chip.
That's a good
so that's for
one.
consideration.
Might need some milk.
But as far as props go,
yes,
Yeah, don't
yes,
touch-
yes.
forget
Favorite
mayonnaise.
football prop
Sorry.
on the board.
I'm like the little dog from Up, squirrel. And so I'll get it together, guys. There's a ton of props out there. You guys know DraftKings Sportsbook has thousands of options
So many.
available.
Like a bajillion. I'm looking at them now.
And so I kind of tried to talk through a lot of my prop bets through the way I think this game could go, a game script type of a thing. And so if I think this is a game where the Eagles, who have had success early all season long, could have success again against Kansas City, which I do, then maybe I like the Eagles first half. And you could do Eagles first half minus a point, minus 105. So pretty good price on that bet. They are so good in the first quarter, and I found a lot of first quarter options in ways to back the Eagles. So you could bet them to score on the opening drive, which we know they have done an NFL best 62 times this season. You could bet Jalen Hurts to have a first quarter passing touchdown plus 215. And I love that bet because a lot of people don't realize, because so much was made of the Eagles' success in the second quarter this season. I mean, even though that narrative died down a little bit the back half of the year, they still have like a plus 130 something point differential in the second quarter, which is just insane. But as far as the first quarter goes, Jalen Hurts had 15 first quarter passing touchdowns. He was first in the league in a number of first quarter categories, third, I want to say, in first quarter QBR. There's a lot of reasons to like them to score first, and specifically for Jalen Hurts to be a part of that. So I like that angle. There's another prop out there for the game to be tied at some point beyond 0-0, which I love because, like I said, if I think this is a game that could be close, then why couldn't we get a 7-7, a 10-10 early on along the way with 2 quarterbacks that can go back and forth? Or if this is a game that comes down to the wire in a walk-off field goal like we saw in the AFC Championship, why couldn't we have another tie? So I'm like, my
we have one.
wires are firing.
Will either team kick a game-winning walk-off field goal in regulation? It's plus 1,000 for yes.
Yes. So I mean, like, why wouldn't you throw a sprinkle on something fun
sure.
like that? That's very possible.
Well, that's
so.
what want me like. Why not throw a sprinkle on someone like Travis Kelce winning like MVP in this game?
Oh, yeah,
because
10 to
he's
1.
Yeah, he's like you're at plus 1,200 now.
Oh, yeah.
So plus
let's do it.
1,200 on DK Sportsbook. You obviously have the quarterbacks who are the favorite in this category here, but. I mean, like, what do you think it would take for someone besides Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes to win this thing?
I think if the Eagles win, there's more opportunity for other players, and
Yeah.
that's kind of when you could look down the board a little bit more. I think for when it comes to the Chiefs, it's Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce. It just kind of has to be, which is why I like that thought process with putting a sprinkle on Kelce, because let's say it's a day where Mahomes doesn't have the 300-plus yard day, and it's a little bit slower started, but Kelce has 3 touchdowns or something.
Well, yeah, look at what he did against Jackson with like 14 catches for crying out loud. Oh, that was pain.
Well, and the two of them have just connected. Yeah, I'm a 49ers fan, so I'm having a tough time this week as well. But, like, you look at certain situations where, like, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce in the playoffs together have just been so dynamic.
So
and
damn good.
The last Super Bowl, Kelce had 10 catches on 15 targets, and his last 5 playoff games, he's gone over 90 yards. And you're just like, okay, well, you know, you do you, Travis. Just go off, buddy.
Every time. Every time. Well, one of the fun parts of the Super Bowl, we talked about this, are the novelty props that you can get to. So let's go through some of those, starting with the important one, the coin toss.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a feeling on this one, 50-50, that you're right? I mean, come on, heads, tails, what do we think?
And the great thing about DraftKings is it's actually an even money bet. A lot of sports books out there put the little tax on it at minus 105, and you don't have to worry about that here, which is great. So it's actually a 50-50 shot in terms of the betting market as well, which is nice. But so even though I am of the tails never fails crew, tails has failed 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls.
It's ridiculous.
So maybe that just means it's due. So I think I might roll with tails in this case. And it does have the overall edge. I did way too much research on weird stuff.
Yes, you did.
But
we love that.
Tails has won 29 times to heads 27. So overall in Super Bowl history, there has been an edge with tails.
I mean, you did a bunch of research too. I saw on your TikTok with the Gatorade bath color. So what color
I'm so
right
sorry
now?
you sat through that.
Loved every moment of it.
So which color would be your pick right now?
Well, again, because I don't have a lot of conviction on a side, I don't have a lot of conviction on a color here, because it depends on kind of who you think is going to win the game. If you think Kansas City is going to win, you probably give an edge to orange, because that's the color that was dumped on Andy Reid when they won the first time. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Then on the Eagles side of things, the color that was poured on Nick Sirianni this past week when they beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship was yellow, and yellow and green are actually put together on the odds board, and green is also an Eagles color, so you're getting a little 2-for-1 value spot there. So just don't bet red. That's the best advice I can give anybody out there, is don't bet red and don't bet none. Again, it's your money. Do what you want. Who am I to say don't do it? But I would recommend.
Belichick, right? Belichick, I think it was the last guy who had none. He's probably like, no,
that checks out.
Do not dump a bucket of anything on
This
me.
has happened to me enough. I've had enough Super Bowl winning Gatorade baths.
I hate those showers. God.
But like, that's one of those things that I just think it's such a tradition. It's such an exciting moment, especially if the Eagles do win. The players are not going to wait to be able to dump that on Sirianni. It's something players, fans, coaches all love and enjoy, even if it's freezing up your spine. And then red, which I put in my little TikTok, despite being one of the most popular colors and flavors in America, has never been dumped on a game-winning coach ever. So fruit punch is not the way. Cool Blue has, however, won in back-to-back and 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls.
3 of the last 4 Super Bowls.
Cool Blue, baby.
That sounds refreshing.
It does.
All right, I know you said you don't have like a strong conviction either way, but we have to put you on the spot. We got to do it. We need your Super Bowl 57 prediction. Who wins and what's the score? I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm going to say that the Eagles are going to lead early all the way until the 4th quarter, and then Mahomes and Andy Reid are going to dial up some magic and win this thing outright 27-24.
Oh, gosh, I love it.
Yeah, you really are predicting the tight one.
Yep.
All right, then, tougher question. What's better, Kansas City barbecue or a Philadelphia cheesesteak? I have not had a Philly cheesesteak in Philadelphia, so I cannot take part in this question.
Neither have I. So I've had a Philly, cheesesteak before, but at like Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, okay,
so
which is delicious.
I don't, right?
You just went to Philly. Did you get a cheesesteak when you went to Philly?
I didn't, no.
Oh, my.
We're like
know.
letting all of the local Philly fans down
I
so hard
know.
right now, but I'm a barbecue gal through and through, so
Same
I'll go
here.
KC barbecue.
Same here.
Yeah.
I mean, Stormy, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We are so happy that you're here. It's going to be awesome coverage all week. You guys have your shows. I think we're all going to hang out as the
Yeah.
week goes on. We really appreciate it. Thank you for
So-
breaking down the props. Thank you for doing the Gatorade deep dive, doing God's
Sure.
work on your TikTok.
Yeah, follow her over on TikTok.
Yes.
The things that people need to know. And I'm just glad I didn't curl my hair today so people didn't get us confused.
I
Because
know.
usually
Yes, I
everyone
know.
thinks I'm you when they meet me.
At
Everyone thinks I'm
At
you.
least they don't confuse you with Michael Lombardi. That'd be
Yeah,
much
That's-
worse.
oh.
yeah.
Oh, you know, only one.
I'll take
Only
it.
once.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, I love it. All right, that's going to do it for the sweat. We will be right back. Just a quick break here. So stay tuned. We are live from Radio Row.
All right, back here live on Radio Row from the Phoenix Convention Center. I'm Emerson Lotzi alongside Jesse Cofield. You're watching The Sweat presented by DraftKings. So we're getting ready to wrap up the show here. And every day, as we will be live here on Radio Row throughout the week, every day we're going to wrap up the show with a new little segment called Don't Sweat It. So what are we going to do here?
We're going to handle the research for you guys for some of the more popular prop bets available on the DK Sportsbook. Today, we're going to start with the quarterback passing totals
Okay.
for both QBs, starting with Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, cool. So projected passing total for Super Bowl 57 here, 287.5. He's averaging, close to 289 a game throughout the season. Passing total has gone over, so 12-8 to the over, including this postseason.
Yeah,
I
he
mean-
went over in the AFC Championship game,
Yep.
but the under was hit 6 times in the last 8 games.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, almost as the season goes along. Sometimes these guys slow down a little bit, get a little banged up, maybe have a high ankle
The
sprain
ankle.
in there.
The ankle. Yeah, in Super Bowl 54 versus SF, 286 yards for him.
Okay.
In Super Bowl 55 versus Tampa Bay, 270 yards.
Yeah.
So some numbers to keep in mind there.
Yeah, and we know Jalen Hurts being a little younger. Obviously, his playoff resume isn't up to that standard of Patrick Mahomes, but I'm sure it'll get there eventually. So his projecting passing total here for Super Bowl 57, 244.5 is average per game. Closer to 234. So maybe they expect him to go a little above and beyond this time around, although, as Mike Pritchard told us, the guy just does so much damage, like with his legs. You really don't know what version of Patrick Mahomes, or not Patrick Mahomes, but Jalen Hurts, like you're going to get.
Yeah, in his last 8 games, his passing total has gone under 6 times. The under is 9-7 in his last 16 games overall. So averaging 137.5 yards per game passing into playoff games this season.
Hey, he has played one game at State Farm Stadium this year, 26 for 36, 239 yards, no picks, no tutties, but he did rush for a couple scores on the ground.
Yep. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us for today, day one.
Yo, tomorrow's gonna be a pretty litty spaghetti here because it's gonna be more history. We're gonna have a longtime friend of this show gonna be live and in person for the first time ever, so you must tune in to find out who that is. And he loves to wear tube socks and Crocs. That's the only hint I'll give you. Thanks for watching The Sweat, everybody.
Yeah.